Should be live in just a moment.
Okey-doke.
We're live.
So we're good. I can go.
Yeah, go ahead, Molly, proceed.
All right. Good morning and welcome to the June 18th, 2026 meeting of the ERCA Executive Committee. I will call this meeting to order. We have no regrets this morning. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that this land is the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy of First Nations, comprised of the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi peoples. We value the significant historical and contemporary contributions of local and regional First Nations and all of the original peoples on Turtle Island, North America, who have been living and working on land from time immemorial. Please raise your hand to indicate if there are any members that need to declare a conflict of interest. Seeing none, we can proceed. I need a motion that the agenda for the June 18th, 2026 meeting of the ERCA Executive Committee be approved. Moved by... Sorry, Tanya Jobin, and I'm sorry, I believe I heard someone, but...
Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison, okay, seconded by Jim Morrison. Any opposed? And that carries. Sorry, you guys are split on my screen. So we have hearings scheduled this morning. As a result, I require a motion that the Executive Committee sit as a hearing board in respect to an application under Section 28.1 of the Conservation Authorities Act. Moved by Kieran McKenzie, seconded by Tanya Jobin. Oops, and yeah, any opposed? And that carries. Okay, we are now going to conduct hearings under Section 28.1 of the Conservation Authorities Act in respect to one application. We, as a hearing board, are unaware of these matters being brought forward, and we only now are receiving and reviewing the information provided by staff on this day. The authorities administers regulations under Part 6 of the Conservation Authorities Act, which require the permission of the authority for development within an area regulated by the authority in order to ensure no adverse effects on the control of flooding, erosion, dynamic beaches, or unstable soils and bedrock, or to permit alterations to a shoreline and watercourse, or interference with a wetland. The staff have reviewed the proposed works, and a copy of the staff report has been given to the applicant. The Conservation Authorities Act, Section 28.1, subsection 3, provides that an authority shall not refuse an application for a permit or attach conditions to a permit unless the applicant of that permit has been given an opportunity to be heard by the authority. In holding these hearings, the authority board is to determine whether or not a permit is to be issued, and in doing so, we can consider the application in the form of it is before us. The staff report, such evidence as may be given, and the submission that may be made on behalf of the applicant. The proceedings will be conducted according to the Statutory Powers of Procedure Act. Under Section 5 of the Canadian Evidence Act, a witness may refuse to answer any question on the ground that the answer may tend to incriminate that person or may tend to establish his or her liability to a civil proceeding at the instance of the Crown or of any persons. The procedure in general shall be informal. However, this is a quasi-judicial process and that provides the evidence to be given in response to members' questions. Therefore, staff and applicants will be asked to swear an oath or provide an affirmation to speak the truth. In accordance with the Act, an applicant who has been refused permission or who objects to the conditions imposed on a permission may appeal the decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal, who may refuse the permission or grant permission with or without conditions. If the applicant has any questions to ask of the hearing board or of the authority representatives, they may be directed to the chair of the board. As a reminder, the hearings will be conducted in accordance with the approved hearing guidelines, and we as the hearing board will question, if necessary, both the staff and the applicant agent. Before I ask Dan Jenner, Regulations Coordinator, to introduce the applicants, I would ask that he swear an oath or provide an affirmation to speak the truth during the duration of the hearing board. Mr. Jenner?
Affirmation, please.
Okay. Do you solemnly affirm that the evidence which you are about to give in the proceedings will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you?
I do.
Thank you. And Mr. Jenner, please proceed with the first application.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Hi, Dan.
Good morning. So as As noted, we only have one hearing before the executive committee this morning, and it is fairly routine. It's an area that has lots of development that's occurred over the past couple of years, and certainly other properties that this committee has seen in the past. So we have our applicant, Sabina Van Loon Grew, with us, and she's made an application for permit to construct a new house at 386 Lakewood Drive in the town of Amherstburg. So we are down on or very close to Lake Erie in the Bar Point area of Amherstburg, and we've got the property highlighted there in blue. Next slide, please. So we do have an application for permit, file number 0653-26, made by our applicant, Sabina Van Loon Grew.
Gore.
My apologies.
No worries.
For a home located at 386 Lakewood Drive in the town of Amherstburg. And we are seeking relief from the access, ingress, and egress policy requirements. As noted, we are very close to Lake Erie, so we are in the Lake Erie section of shoreline, where the ERCA floodproofing elevation, including the 0.3 meters of freeboard, is 176.0 meters above sea level. Raw 100-year flood level is 175.7. The provincial minimum road elevation 175.2, and the ERCA minimum road elevations slightly above that at 175.4. Next slide, please. So you can see in the map there on the right-hand corner, we've got our property highlighted in blue, and we've got a little bit of yellow section of roadway as we head west towards McLeod Avenue until we get into a green section. Yellow being the area that is above the provincial minimums, but below the ERCA minimums. And it's below by 0.17 meters, not quite 8 inches. The roadway in this area is fully delineated. The area is fully developed, and emergency first responders are aware of the flood-prone nature of these roads, and the applicant is satisfying all of the other regulatory standards, such as setback from the water and the minimum flood protection standards. Next slide, please. So with that, we are recommending that the application from Sabine Van Loon Gore to request relief from access, ingress, and egress policy requirements to construct a new dwelling at 386 Lakewood Drive in the town of Amherstburg be approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jenner. Does the applicant wish to provide any evidence in support of their application?
I don't think I have to. I think Dan did a good job.
Thank you. Okay, wonderful. So the ministry or the motions there, can I get a mover? Moved by Larry Verbicki, seconded by
Kieran.
Kira McKenzie. Any opposed? And that carries. All right, thank you. And so I need a motion now that the hearing board reconvene as an executive committee. Can I get a mover?
Move it.
By Tanya and seconded by Jim Morrison. Any opposed? And that carries.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with your project, guys.
Have a good morning, everyone.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning, Jordan.
Kieran, you're picking me up later on?
Are you doing
Okay.
travel? Or that's not in the minutes, okay?
Yeah. So we're going to
I thought we were
continue.
done. I thought we were adjourned.
No, so we're going to continue. So we have the
Yes.
parking lot and drive lane coding for Hillman Marsh Conservation
sorry.
Area. And Kevin Money can provide a context for this tender.
Thank you, Chair. So today the Conservation Authority released 2 tenders for the hard surfacing or tar and chipping of both Hillman Marsh Conservation Area and the associated boat launch area and for Ruscombe Shores Conservation Area. So the Conservation Authority annually puts out tenders associated with tar and chip. This is part of our ongoing effort to improve accessibility within our conservation areas. Gravel parking lots are not terribly conducive to wheelchairs or those with mobility restrictions. So the Conservation Authority annually makes a point of trying to improve accessibility within our conservation areas and hard surfacing at least 1 or 2. We budgeted for this. It is in the approved 2026 budget. as with all of our tar and chip projects over the past 5 years, we have only received a single bid from one contractor, Shepley Excavating and Road Maintenance. This seems to be the only company that's willing to provide us with bids. According to our tendering policies, the tender has been left unopened because it's a single bid. Instead, the recommendation to this committee is that we proceed with what's called an acknowledgement of single bid. This is a two-page document. I don't know if Nicole wants to flash it on the screen or not. But ultimately it's a document that acknowledges that's a single bid. We are not obligated to receive or accept the prices from a contract law perspective, and that we can negotiate prices and aspects of the bid going forward. It doesn't force us to accept the prices if we open it, which is the status of what it is now. So with direction from the board, the recommendation is in front of you for the first of these two projects, first one being Hillman Marsh.
Okay, so can I get a mover? Oh, and everyone just, sorry, moved by, can you guys
There you
say
go.
it?
Madam Chair, just a couple questions.
Oh, yep, thank you. Go ahead, Kieran.
So just again, could you just go over Kevin's story of why we would do it this way rather than go through a normal tender, normal,
Yeah.
the other tendering process?
So ultimately, if this particular bid is excessively high or off the charts, we don't know, then this committee is forced to accept it, right? But as the single only bid, so we don't want to be in that position. Instead, we want to be in a position where we can receive this bid. It may not be competitive, we don't know, and go through a process. So by doing this, Jeff Shepley signs this document every year. We do this once a year. We've been doing it for 5 years now. So he signs the document. We open the bid. We review the prices with the engineer. We have a discussion with their CFO to ensure that the money is in alignment in terms of our actual budget amounts. It's good value for taxpayer dollars. And then we will come back to this committee in about 2 weeks during the next meeting, which is June 2nd, with a recommendation and a report in terms of the outcome of those discussions to actually award the job.
Okay, thank you for that. That's well explained. And just one more thing. So is it fair to assume then that the budgeted amount is essentially the de facto upset limit of what would be within scope, I guess, or I forget the terminology that you use, but so yeah, because I'm just wondering from a direction standpoint if we should set a limit or if it's already implied in the budget document.
Through you, Madam Chair, we were blessed with the comparables that we have from all the rural municipalities that regularly deal with this contractor. They're faced with the same quandary here of it is the only contractor that is in a position of doing tar and chip applications that are at a commercial level, not like a driveway, private driveway or anything else. So they are the sole contractor that's available. And the comparatives that we can have for negotiation is with all the rural municipalities and our previous contracts. Thank you.
So we know what's going on. All right, that's it for me. Prepared to move the recommendation at the appropriate time.
Okay, are there any other questions? Oh, Larry Verbeke.
Yes, thank you, Worthy Chair. Kevin, what was the budgeted amount before you opened the envelope?
It was about $250,000.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, we got moved by Karen McKenzie. Can I get a seconder? Second by Tanya Jobin. Any opposed? And that carries. All right, next we have the parking lot and drive lane coating for Ruscombe Shores Conservation Area. Kevin?
Thank you, Chair. This is identical to the Hillman Marsh resolution. It's an identical situation and scenario. I don't know if Nicole is going to put the resolution up or not.
I can just read it. That ERCA enters into an acknowledgement agreement to open the single bid received by Shepley Excavating and Road Grading.
Madam Chair, Kevin, can you identify the budget number as well?
Sorry. Further to that, so what I provided was a combined total of both jobs. So approximately $250,000 is for both tar and chip surfacing jobs combined.
Perfect. All right, so the motion's there. Can I get a mover?
Move it.
Moved by, Larry Verbicki, seconded by Jim Morrison. Any opposed? And that carries. Okay, and then next we have ECO 526, fabricate and install the Queso Greenway gates. And Kevin will be speaking to this tender.
Thank you, Chair. So since acquisition of the Queso Railway line, the abandoned Queso Railway line, we knew from the very beginning that we would have issues with ATV access and unauthorized ATV access or motorized uses side by sides along the Greenway. This is a type of activity that was occurring on this railway long before the Conservation Authority owned it. It's a very difficult type of activity to try to curb. Conservation authorities undertaking multiple tactics from working with the OPP, laying charges against individuals who are breaking the rules and regulations, installation of cement block barriers at key points, etc. So this is part of an ongoing effort to try to curb that activity, to be a reasonable, responsible landowner, to try to end that activity on those greenway future greenway trails. So we reached out to two experienced contractors who have experience installing our greenway gates. Our greenway gates, we know from 20 years of experience, stand the test of time and actually prevent access. Based on that, we sought pricing from two experienced contractors who installed these gates before. And the recommendation before you is for the installation of 3 gates at 3 specific problem areas within the municipality of Lakeshore, and proceeding with that installation this year.
Okay. Any questions? Nope. Tanya Jobin?
Do you, Chair? It's just for discussion. In the past, we talked about developing a friendship with this type of a user group with maybe a monthly weekend or bi-weekend usage with a user fee where we engage a healthy relationship where they utilize the pathway for a certain timeline with these ATVs to somehow mitigate it to be safer and shareable. Is that something we want to reinvestigate or revisit?
Through you, Madam Chair. The most significant challenge or hurdle that we have is our trail system, our conservation areas. Within a conservation area, those vehicles are simply prohibited. So there's work that is required with respect to the legislation, the property description, and utilization of that property. We have reached out and have had conversations with Essex County. I can't think of the name of the
ATV,
group right
something,
now, ATV group, and have said that we could use assistance with respect to membership and what have you. They have a membership that numbers in the hundreds, where the numbers of machines are in the thousands. And so it's unfortunately not a club who could help us regulate. It is numbers of people who don't actually even belong to some of the clubs that are saying, can we look at this? So there's legislative hurdles that we have to go through if we are to consider any of those uses. And we have reached out to the county ATV club. We've also reached out, president of the county club also happens to be the president of the provincial club. And we reached out to a couple of the others to have some level of dialogue, but there are some realities and some other challenges here legislation wise that we'd have to look at first.
No, I understand that completely. We experience this as landowners. We own property throughout Windsor-Essex County, and it always amazes me that people purchase these ATVs for the purpose of recreation, and they don't even own like 100, like 10,
Anything.
like anything. They just think they can get it and drive it where they want. And actually, Tecumseh is coming across issues with the e-bikes. Now, the e-bikes throughout the municipality, they're utilizing park areas and they're overtaking sidewalks, which is now leading to people with dirt bikes. It's almost like it's an escalation of one leading to another. So now we are enforcing bylaw enforcement to try to help mitigate and regulate what that culture looks like, you know. And so
Through
I
you,
understand the position we're in. It
through you,
is, we
Madam
gotta figure it
Chair,
out.
with respect to Councillor Jobin's comments as well, we've gone through the hurdles and through the challenges of trying to respond to, again, e-bikes. Kevin provided a report to the board, I think about a year ago, maybe 2 years now. The classification of e-bikes, the appearance of e-bikes is a horrific challenge for our compliance officers and for police in that regulating the use, the visual of these machines, little difference between ones that could be allowed and ones that are not allowed. And, the general public, we've had some challenges in Devonwood recently where we've had, again, arguments amongst ratepayers and users about, oh, that can't be here and all this other type of thing. So again, we have to do some additional work with respect to information and some media releases with respect to what is and what isn't. And again, it's a daunting challenge because the technology is changing dramatically while legislation is not matching the change in the availability of, these various pieces of technology.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Karen McKenzie?
Just on that point, I gave some thought to the same type of idea that Councillor Jobin's raising. One of the things that's come back to me as I've sort of explored this area in our own municipality is the liability piece as well. And I imagine it could be very significant if we were to even consider some sort of permitted use, even if it was limited, though any type of incident, we would have some pretty significant exposure there, I would assume. I'm just throwing that in as an additional comment.
Kevin Money?
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I respect all those comments and I appreciate them. Two quick points. When the Conservation Authority undertook an extensive public consultation process related to the Queso Railway and the development of such, ATV use was considered and there was a great deal of commentary and thought put into those board reports that were approved previously. So that was something that was considered and put forward to the full board as part of that discussion. I believe, just as it relates to e-bikes, I believe the province is either considering or has very recently passed new legislation under the Highway Traffic Act as it relates to e-bikes. It is something that we have to look at and review as an organization. And because I think the province is recognizing how quickly things are changing as it relates to e-bikes and the technology. So there will most likely be another board report regarding e-bikes and usage on our trails and facilities in the near future. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, just to add on to what Kieran said, I mean, Windsor has looked at this and there's and it's complicated and it's changing, as you say, Kevin, with MTO is looking at this, and there's certain speeds where it really becomes now a motor vehicle that needs to be licensed and insured and helmets and everything. But I know it gets confusing with different organizations are doing certain things. So in Windsor, we're looking at what is prohibited and what would be allowed on our trail system, and specifically what lines up with the US in terms of us being able to have some kind of a vehicle, assisted bicycle or whatever to go across the new Gordie Howe Bridge. And so that's a new area that people are looking at to want to utilize, and we want to line up with the US. So different places, different trail systems, it gets and so many different, like you say, Tim, so many different types of vehicles. Like there's people making them in their garage, and there's people, there's all kinds of things out there now. So certainly any kind of speeds on a trail where there's pedestrians is certainly, a dangerous thing. So just a commentary on that, Madam Chair.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, well, the motion is there that the administration secure the services of Jeff Shepley Excavating for the installation of the Queso Greenway gates in 2026. Can I get a mover? Moved by Karen McKenzie, seconded by Tanya Jobin. Any opposed? And that carries. All right, and is there any other new business that members wish to raise? Seeing none. The next meeting of the ERCA Board of Directors will be held on Thursday, June 18th, starting at 6 p.m. in Council Chambers at the Essex Civic Center. And as this concludes business of the Executive Committee, I need a motion that we adjourn. Moved by
Move.
Jim Morrison, seconded by Larry Ribicki.
With the
Any-
question, worthy chair,
Yeah.
Too late.
how long are you going to talk tonight?
I'll wrap it up real quick for you, Larry.
Okay, because I'm gonna have I might not be paying too much attention or having my headbuds in, so I'll keep you up to date on the score. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be as quick